TheBradRules!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus is the follow-up to the first 2003 Ninja Turtles game, and it's quite a departure from what we experienced in the first game. So we'll be looking at the PS2 version of this game, but there is a Game Boy Advance version just like with the first game. So the game has beat 'em up elements just like the first game, but it also is a platformer as well. The camera is so far more zoomed out than in the first game, and the cel-shaded graphics we saw are now replaced with more common looking polygons that don't quite hit the same way. It's definitely an inferior art style. Another feature is that the game allows you to select any of the 4 turtles on the fly, which is very nice, but unlike the first NES game, you share a single health bar, and each of the turtles has a skill that the other can't perform. Mikey's nunchuck copter returns on the first game to help with extended jumps. Raph can push boxes, Leo can cut through certain objects, and Don can use computer consoles. So the game seems like it's all set to be the superior game when compared to the first one, right? Wrong. First off, let me just say they ruined the combat. I mean, the first game had such fun, smooth, and responsive combat, and in Battle Nexus, they just flat out messed it up to a very alarming degree. The combat is slow, with the turtles attacking well after a button command, and the running attack barely works half the time. The animations are also worse, and what in the world happened to Donatello? In the first game, Donnie was a machine and was so fun to play as, but my god, his attacks are fucking nonsense. This cartwheel attack they put as his weak attack has got to be the single worst decision I've ever seen when animating what's supposed to be a quick attack for your character. This is not quick nor practical, it's fucking stupid. It causes you to dive into an enemy and it leaves you open for an attack. And I complained about the enemies being somewhat cheap in the first game. I want to beg Konami for forgiveness right now. The enemies are so fucking cheap here. Way cheaper than the first game. And it definitely doesn't help that your attacks are as slow as molasses. Take these robotic crocs, for example. These guys keep scoring hits on me, and if I'm not strategically jump attacking, I'm history. I found that Raph is by far the best turtle to use, and Leo isn't bad either. But Mikey and Don are pretty worthless. Mikey's range is so terrible. It's so disheartening to see the combat so drastically hampered by all these ridiculous changes. It's hard to believe Konami actually developed both games and didn't realize how bad the changes actually were. You actually can throw enemies this time around, but to no surprise, it's quite frustrating. And you'll learn this when you'll be tasked with carrying the Fugitoid. The 2-button command is very finicky, and when enemies are firing upon you, it's not pretty. Then you'll get to do it again when you must save all these Utroms and toss them onto the teleporter. And I think what makes the grab mechanic so bad is just the perspective and the fact that the collision is just bad for the grabbing action. I'm right on top of one of them and it's not even registering. How could they make entire stages based around this mechanic and it be this bad? The uppercut is gone, so now you have to wait for your enemies to get up before hitting them, and that means no air juggles as well. Honestly, I don't know what the hell went on here. You'll find that you're better off just rushing through many areas, ignoring enemies. This just feels weird in the game that feels like a beat 'em up, but doesn't really seem committed to the bit, because it lets you move on in many cases without defeating all the enemies in a given area. The game's platforming sections just don't feel good, and despite the camera being zoomed out to accommodate this play style, it's actually a detriment because it's never at a good angle. The controls definitely feel like they're meant for a beat 'em up, but the game is forcing this other style, and it just makes it all feel very awkward. And that's a really good way of explaining the gameplay overall. It's an awkward feeling game. They also get really adventurous and add in a few of these hoverboard levels, but really they're not so bad. You just have to avoid pitfalls, and you can collect these medallions along the way. They're pretty enjoyable, nothing too special, but overall I would not say that they're bad, because it controls decently well, and it's a nice little bit of variety. The best parts of the game are the exclusive parts of the story, especially the inclusion of Slasher, an original character made for this game, and they even went out of their way to have animated cutscenes for him. This is a really cool character, and they really outdid themselves making Slasher a standout character. The game picks up right at the end of the first season and covers most of the second season. You'll do battle with Triceratons, Karai, and Shredder, among others, and much like the first game, many liberties are taken with the story. Presentation is the best part of this game, and you even get to learn a bit more about the Ninja Rats and their Turtle Sensei that we only saw for a few seconds in an episode of the show, with more original cutscenes that are fully animated. You'll even get to fight them. So this is pretty cool how they expanded on a small part of the show that was originally just a gag, and fleshed it out into a memorable part of the game. Now, the game is called Battle Nexus, but where is this part of the story? Well, it's in the tournament mode, but it's locked behind 2 other tournaments. The problem? I already dislike the combat, and all the fights take place in the same arena, which is very lazy. I mean, where is the cool multiple chamber fighting setup from the show? So yeah, I didn't really bother getting there for this playthrough. Playing through 10 matches and having a group of enemies constantly ganging up on you and getting cheap shots in due to the sluggish controls is not my idea of a good time. At least the music is good here. And speaking of the music, the OST is fucking phenomenal and is my favorite part of the game besides the cutscenes. The game carries on the style of music from the first game, bringing together metal and electronica in the best possible way for some very energetic pieces, but it also has some slower, calmer pieces as well for a more atmospheric feel as well. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd have to go with the music that plays when the Ultimate Ninja and the Sewer Machine chase after you. There's also the matter of the original Ninja Turtles arcade game being unlockable in the game, and it is even advertised on the box. When's the last time an unlockable was ever advertised on the fucking box? But unfortunately, while this port might play well, it is missing the original music and the original voiceovers. Although there are some newly recorded lines from the 2003 cast, the music is also just reused pieces of music from the main game, and there's the same piece of music playing for each level, and then another piece of music for every boss. I'm not sure how Konami lost the license to the music from their own game, and the fact they went out of their way to put it on the box is kind of curious, because they certainly half-assed the port. It's not even like they re-recorded all the voiceovers or the music. It's still perfectly playable, don't get me wrong, but it's certainly one of the worst ways to experience the game. So there you have it, folks. That's my review of Battle Nexus, and it's not a very good game. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a bad game, but it's just not a very enjoyable experience. I honestly don't get what Konami was thinking with this one. I can appreciate the desire to implement some variety and take the Ninja Turtles away from their synonymous reputation with the beat-em-up genre, but what we got wasn't a very good deviation. Almost everything but the music is inferior to the first game, especially the controls and the combat. I honestly wouldn't recommend this one unless you're a hardcore Turtles fan, and even those people will surely find the flaws to be irritating. So guys, that just about does it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you ever played Battle Nexus? And if you have, what do you think? Are you with me and think this is a pretty disappointing entry in the series, or do you absolutely love it? Because I've seen a lot of people online who actually say they're quite fond of this game and have a lot of great nostalgic memories of it. I'd love to discuss it down below, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my subscribers for your continued support, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.